Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra. Laurie is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening. What's up with the energies of June? First of all, I can't believe I'm talking about June. It is mid-year. June, though it's the number 6 or the 6th month, collectively it carries the energy of number 7, and it's in a universal year of 1. We left May with that full moon in Sagittarius, and the archetype of Sagittarius is I aim. The greatest need as a human is to always search for something, and that Sagittarius full moon was illuminating those things that we were aiming at. So as we left May with some optimism on our approach to life and maybe aiming towards some new goals, or maybe a mission or a philosophy that gives your life different or expanded meaning. But this month in June, we look to clarify the messages and build our future based on our vision, our purpose, and our mission. June is the 6th month, and in 2026, which is a universal year of 1, it carries that collective vibration of 7. And the energy of 7 is reflection, truth, intuition, spiritual insight, and inner listening. After May's heart-centered integration, June now asks us to pause and listen more deeply. This is not a month for rushing into every open door. It is a month for discerning which door is truly aligned. Now, I know summer and June, we get excited. There's a lot more energy in the air, but the number 7 reminds us that growth is not only outward movement, but it's also about listening before speaking, questioning what we believe, and not being afraid to change our beliefs, trusting our intuition, and letting silence reveal the next step. June carries a strong mental and spiritual current, with Gemini's energy active early in the month and Cancer's energy rising later in June. We move from information into more feeling, from curiosity into emotional truth, and from feeling maybe a little bit scattered in our thoughts to some deeper wisdom. Now, there's 3 parts to the energy of June, and I call this a 3-part energetic arc of June. Listening is 1, clarifying is 2, and committing is 3. And because June begins in Gemini season, this is where ideas, conversations, choices, and information move quickly. But the deeper invitation is not to collect more noise and stuff, but it's to recognize the message underneath what we are collecting. By mid-month, the Gemini New Moon opens a portal of new thinking and fresh communication. And then as the sun moves into Cancer, the energy softens and turns more inward. The month closes with a powerful Capricorn Full Moon, bringing responsibility, structure, and long-term direction more into our focus. So let's take a look. We've got a new moon in Gemini. That's June 14th, and that's all about new ideas, communication, mental reset. This new moon opens a doorway around communication, learning, writing, teaching, speaking, and looking at the stories we tell ourselves or about ourselves. Gemini asks, what needs to be said? What truth have I been circling but really not naming? And where am I ready to think differently? This is an incredibly powerful time to set new intentions around writing, speaking, teaching, podcasting, or messaging. It's also a great time to set intentions around healing patterns, maybe where we're overthinking, maybe learning something new, maybe reframing or rewriting that old story, choosing clarity over confusion. And this is not just a mental reset, it's a soul level invitation to let your words really match your truth. Now, the sun enters Cancer on June 21st, and this is also solstice. This is a gateway, emotional wisdom. It's around our home, our inner safety. And as the sun enters Cancer on June 21st, we'll feel this shifting of the collective energy from Gemini's mental movement into Cancer's emotional intelligence. And Cancer season brings attention to our homes, our family, our belonging, our intuition, also in areas of nourishment and the places where we feel safe or where we realize we no longer do feel safe. This is where June deepens. It deepens the question, and the question changes from what do I think to what do I feel? Cancer reminds us that intuition often speaks through the body before the mind can explain it. Now, I mentioned that full moon in Capricorn at the end of the month, and that's June 29th. More light and illumination is cast down upon responsibility, structure, and that long-term direction. The full moon is grounding, it's serious, and it can be clarifying. But Capricorn, known as the workhorse of the zodiac signs, brings focus to commitments, leadership, discipline, maturity, career, responsibility, and adds structures that holds our life together. So if the Gemini New Moon at mid-month opened a new conversation, and the Capricorn Full Moon asks, what will you actually build from this truth? What responsibility are you truly ready to accept? And what structure needs to change so that your future can hold more of who you are becoming? That full moon will illuminate maybe some areas in the career decisions. Maybe some long-term goals will shift or change. Maybe family or ancestral patterns will come to light and shift, and boundaries and responsibilities. Where you are over-carrying or over-committing or feeling overburdened in some way. This doesn't feel like it's going to be a heavy full moon, but it does feel like it's a mature one. It helps you see what is real, what is sustainable, and what does require your full presence. Now, I also want to mention that at the end of the month, right before this full moon, we have Mercury retrograde also in Cancer, and that begins June 29th. And that's about emotional review, family patterns, and inner dialogue. This makes the end of June especially reflective. Mercury retrograde in Cancer may bring review around areas such as family conversations, emotional memory, home matters, old wounds or sensitivities, and the way you speak to yourself internally. This is not a time to fear communication, but it is a time to slow down, to be aware of how or what or to whom you are communicating. Before reacting, pause. Before deciding, feel. And definitely before speaking, listen inward. Now, I also want to touch on Jupiter is entering Leo also at the end of the month, June 30th. Jupiter lends its energy and illuminates or expands whatever it touches. So Jupiter entering Leo is about creative expansion, visibility, heart-led leadership. And Jupiter entering Leo on June 30th begins a major shift from this emotional growth in Cancer into more creative expansion, confidence, joy, visibility, leadership, and heart-centered expression. I'm thinking that this might be one of the biggest energetic shifts of June because Jupiter in Leo asks, Where are you ready to be seen? Where has your light been waiting for permission? And what creative expression is ready to expand? This energy supports teaching, performing, creating, leading, loving boldly, and reclaiming joy. Other planetary influences I just want to touch on that will influence in June is Mercury enters Cancer June 1st. So before it goes retrograde, communication becomes more emotional, intuitive, and memory-based. Words carry feeling, and conversations may become a little bit more personal. And Venus enters Leo on June 13th, right around that new moon time period. Love becomes expressive, warm, generous, and visible. So this supports creativity and, of course, romance, confidence, and the desire to be appreciated. And Mars enters Gemini on June 28th, and that's motivation. It just becomes faster, more curious, and we become more mentally active. This can bring some brilliant ideas, but also make us feel a little bit scattered in some energetic ways if you try to move in too many directions all at once. And lastly, Saturn and Neptune continue in Aries, and this remains one of those defining signatures of all of 2026 because it touches in the areas of spiritual identity, courageous beginnings, and learning how to build from inspired action rather than from old, outdated fears. Now let's take a look through the zodiac sign, and I would welcome you to listen to both your sun sign and your rising sign. So let's start with Aries. I want to go through the arc about listen, clarify, and commit. So each sign will go through these 3 points. Aries, listen. Your thoughts, words, and conversations carry really strong energy this month. So clarify. The Gemini New Moon opens a new communication cycle. Say what needs to be said with honesty and care, but be gentle. And lastly, commit. The Capricorn Full Moon highlights career, responsibility, and long-term direction. Step into that mature leadership role. You've been preparing for it. And Taurus, your listen is June begins with attention on money, values, self-worth, and security. And your clarify, well, that Gemini New Moon helps you reset your relationships with resources and your personal value. And to commit, the Capricorn Full Moon expands your perspective. There's a belief, a plan, or future path that becomes really clear for you. And Gemini, your listen, well, this is your new moon month, and it brings a personal reset. I'm really excited for you Geminis out there. And for clarify, you are being asked to speak, to choose, to think from a more authentic version of yourself. We'll get to see more of you this month. And your commit, the Capricorn Full Moon brings attention to intimacy, shared resources, trust, and energetic boundaries. And Cancer, your listen is, well, the first half of June asks you to be more restful, to retreat, and work more on your inner processing. And then clarify, well, Mercury enters your sign early in the month. This helps you find language and words for what you have been feeling. And at the end of the month, the commit, the Capricorn Full Moon illuminates relationships, balances your needs with the commitments you are ready to make. And Leo, your listen is centered around community and friendships and future visions. These are all activated for you. And clarify is, well, Venus enters your sign mid-month, and this helps you remember your beauty, magnetism, and your creative power. And your commit, well, that Capricorn Full Moon asks you to refine your routines. Look at your health routines, your daily responsibilities, so your light has a stronger foundation as you cascade through the remainder of the year. And Virgo, well, your listen is about career, visibility, and purpose. These are all areas that are highlighted for you. And the clarify, well, that Gemini New Moon opens a new professional or leadership chapter. And your commit, the Capricorn Full Moon, reconnects you with joy, creativity, love, and what your heart truly wants to build. And Libra, your listen is about understanding your worldview is changing. You may feel drawn towards learning, travel, teaching, or spiritual expansion. The clarify, that Gemini New Moons helps you name a new truth. And commit, the Capricorn Full Moon brings focus to your home life, family roots, and emotional foundations. And Scorpio, your listen is about deep emotional, also touching in the areas of financial or energetic entanglements. These areas may ask for more of your attention. And your clarify, well, the Gemini New Moon helps you reset patterns around trust, intimacy, and shared energy. And your commitment, well, that Capricorn Full Moon opens important conversations. Remember, your words have power. Use them with maturity. And Sagittarius, your listen, well, this is all around relationships. They're a major mirror this month, and you might get some views into some things that are up for change. And clarify, the Gemini New Moon brings a reset in partnerships, agreements, and communication. And your commitment, that Capricorn Full Moon highlights money, self-worth, and stability. Build from what truly supports you and understand what you need to really support you. And Capricorn, your listen is your daily life, health, work, and routines are asking for change and refinement. Your clarify is the Gemini New Moon helps you reset habits and create more supportive systems around those routines. And the commitment, well, this Capricorn Full Moon is your personal illumination. Release the old identity and step into the wiser version of yourself. This is an upgrade for you, and this could be an exciting time of the year. And Aquarius, your listen is creativity, love, play, and inspiration. Those things return to the surface. They've been hidden or buried or tucked away, and it's time to bring them back into the light. And clarify, the Gemini New Moon opens your heart and reconnects you with joy. It's a great time to set some new intents around what brings you joy. And the commitment, well, this Capricorn Full Moon asks for rest, closure, and spiritual reflection. Something old is completing quietly, and you just simply get to let it go. And Pisces, your listen is around home and family and emotional foundations. These are all areas that are highlighted. And the clarify, the Gemini New Moon brings a reset in your inner world or your living environment, how you spend your day to day. And lastly, commitment. The Capricorn Full Moon activates community, friendships, and future visions. Align more with people who support who you are becoming and let go of those that want to keep you in the past. So June of 2026 is a month of spiritual listening and grounded truth, and it asks you to listen beneath the noise. Sometimes that noise becomes white noise and we just live through it. This is a month to go below or beneath. Clarify the messages that are coming to you. Speak from emotional honesty. Let go of worry about being vulnerable. Build what can last. Don't look at the temporary stuff. This is long-term work that we're doing. And prepare to be seen in a better, bigger way. This is a month where the mind opens, the heart softens, and the future begins asking for different structure. So when you trust the pause and you honor the message and choose what is real, June becomes a magnificent bridge between insight and embodiment. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Laurie Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Laurie also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.